All right, so it's been a while since I've done any kind of sponging techniques with you, so today that is going to be our focus. However, I'm going to share a fun new product with you that is coming out in January of 2021. And this new product is an absolute game changer. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have 3 different card ideas to share with you that feature a bit of masking or stenciling and the use of a brand new product called blending brushes. Now, these little blending brushes look like a sponge, but it actually is very soft bristles, and it's perfect for sponging. You guys are going to absolutely love this product, and I'm going to show you how to use it today to create these cards. Now, the cards also feature the Dove of Hope stamp set from Stampin' Up. And of course, we will be using the detailed Dove dies, which coordinate with this particular stamp set. Now, as you can see, the cards are done in a non-traditional Christmas color. So I will be using Merry Merlot ink today to create these cards. Okay, so besides using this fun new blending brush, I'm going to show you how to use it to do a bit of sponging using one of the decorative masks. Now, these decorative masks are little stencils that come in a pack of 4. So I'll be using this particular mask for these projects, but there are 3 other fun masks that you could use for it. So before we get started making the cards, I'm just going to show you how to assemble the little dove that I'm going to be using on each of the 3 cards that I'm featuring today. The dove is very easy to put together, and I put it together the exact same way for all 3 cards. So all of the pieces for the dove were created with different dies from the set. So there's the detailed dies, and then there's the solid die, and the little dove, and the little tail. So let me show you how to put these together. So you're going to cut out 2 wings that are solid from a piece of white cardstock, and then you're going to cut out 2 wings that have this detail in them. And then you'll cut out the little dove body and then one of the tail pieces. So basically you just need to add some glue to kind of the bottom part of the wing, and you're just going to adhere it directly to the solid white piece. So that's how you create the wing. And then we're going to do the same thing with the other one. So we'll just add a little bit of glue here to this section. And then we'll go ahead and adhere that. So I'm adding this white piece behind it because that'll prevent the color from showing through the wings when we adhere this to the card. So there's the 2 wings. So basically what I did is I took the bird and just kind of laid it on the wing. So the bird lays on top, and then the second wing lays on top of the bird. So you have kind of 3 layers. You have the bottom wing, the bird, and then the upper wing. And then once I have them positioned the way I want, then I'm just going to adhere them. Okay, so we have the little wings adhered, and you can see I left these kind of free floating. That's just my preference. You could adhere them directly down to the wing if you don't like this kind of sticking up, but I thought it gave it some nice dimension. All right, so the last thing I'm going to do is just add this tail piece, and then we're ready to go. So that is what our dove looks like. Okay, so let's make the cards. Okay, so this first card just features a little bit of that decorative mask in the background. So we're going to do a little bit of sponging using our new brush. We're actually not going to use a sponge. We'll use that brush. And then we'll add some color, just a little bit of color around the outer edges for this card. Okay, so I'm going to start with a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of white cardstock. And then I'm going to use my Merry Merlot ink here. And then I'm going to take my decorative mask and I'm just going to lay it over the top of my cardstock. So for this particular design, I just want to kind of color the inside section here. So I've already used this brush, of course, to create the cards. So I just lightly dab it on, kind of get some of that ink off of there, and then go ahead and use it on your card. So I'm just actually gonna apply it right in the center. And I like to just kind of dab it off before I actually apply it to the card. It seems to kind of go on nicer. So you're just going to continue to add color just right in the center. We're just going to add a little bit of design. We're not going to cover the whole card. Okay, and then we'll take our mask off, and you can see it just gives you a really nice look. These blending brushes are absolutely fabulous. If you have trouble sponging, these are perfect. They're so fun, and they're so easy to use. So now I'm just going to take a little bit of ink, and I'm just going to kind of go around the outer part of my cardstock here, and just kind of use that swirling motion. All right, so that's what it looks like. So I'm using Mary Merlot for the base of my card. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this right to my card base. Okay, now that I have my cardstock adhered to the card front, I'm just going to add a little greeting down here on the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and add my dove, and so I just added some dimensionals behind it. So I'm just going to pop this one up. So the one I did over here is adhered directly to the card. This one I'm popping up so you can see the difference. Then you can just go ahead and embellish it with a little pearl, and on the inside you can stamp a little Christmas sentiment. You could also use that decorative mask to decorate the inside as well. Okay, for the second card idea, I'm going to do that blending or that sponging. We're going to call it blending now because I'm not really using a sponge. So I'm going to do some blending around the outside of the white piece of cardstock, and we're going to kind of leave the center open. So we'll have kind of like a little frame around our dove. So let me show you how to make this card. Okay, so we're again going to start with a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of white cardstock. And then we'll just lay our little decorative mask over the top. And I'm going to kind of hold it down in the center because all of our blending is going to be around the outside. So I want to make sure that I add color all the way around, kind of creating like a little oval in the center so that we have a place to put our dove where there's no color. Okay, so that's what our mask looks like. So let me bring back the other card, and we will also grab our card base. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere this directly to our card front. So this time I just used a scrap piece of cardstock. So it's 4 inches long, and it's about 1 or maybe 1 1/4 inches wide. And I'm just going to do some paper tearing. So I'm going to add this to the bottom of the card because I thought it kind of looked cool. And it just kind of broke up the color a little bit. So we'll go ahead and add this, and then we can add our dove and finish decorating it. All right, then we can go ahead and add our dove. So I already showed you how to assemble it. I just have some dimensionals on the back there. So we'll add the dove right in the center. And then this time I'm just using part of that greeting, that peace, joy, and love greeting. I'm just using the peace and joy. So I just stamped it on a scrap piece of white cardstock, and then I just cut these out by hand, and we'll just adhere them kind of off center here. And then for the finishing touch, we'll just add a little pearl for the eye. And that's it. Such a beautiful card, and honestly, you are just gonna love these new blending brushes. They are just fabulous. Sponges were always a little bit tricky, but these are so easy to use and the color just glides on so nicely. All right, let's move on to the last card. Okay, for this last card idea, we're gonna do some all over blending on a piece of white cardstock, and then we're gonna add this little plush poinsettia overlay. So this is some fun DSP, it's a specialty DSP. But you can see the Mary Merlot color behind it. And so that's the blending that we're going to do. So let me show you how to make this one. Okay, so we are again going to start with a 5 1/4 by 4 inch piece of white cardstock. And so we're basically just going to use this brush and we're going to add color until we have the entire piece of cardstock covered with this color. Okay, so now that we have our white piece all blended with color, it'll get adhered to our card front. But before we do that, we're going to add this piece of plush poinsettia DSP. So it like has a fuzzy raised area on it. It's like vellum, so you can see through it. So you can see the color, that Mary Merlot color right through this. So what you are going to use a sponge for is you're going to sponge some adhesive on this vellum, and then we'll adhere it to that other piece. All right, so let's go ahead and adhere this. So I found the sponging works a little bit better, sponging the glue onto this vellum, because it kind of prevents it from, prevents you from being able to see it through this vellum. Okay, so now I'm adding glue to the back, and we will go ahead and adhere this to our card front. Okay, so now I'm just using that leftover piece. So remember I tore that piece of cardstock earlier for the second card. So I just saved the other side of that torn piece, and that's what I'm using on the bottom here. Then of course we will add our little dove. So we'll add that guy right in the center there. And then we'll add our peace and joy greeting. And then of course you can embellish the eye of the dove with a little pearl. All right, so how beautiful is that? And simple. And again, I just did the same kind of decorating on the inside, so. Okay, so there you go. Now you have 3 different ways that you can use the decorative masks and those blending brushes to create some absolutely beautiful cards. So I hope you enjoyed this little showcase of the new blending brushes. And if you're still making Christmas cards, of course, you can use the exact same techniques I just shared with you. You can use a sponge with. You don't have to have the blending brush, but you are definitely going to want to grab that when it becomes available in January. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.